Just a quick reminder, if you guys are interested in Campbell Fitness Bar Don't Lie tank tops, they are available only until August 11th, which is just another day or so away. Pre-order only. Once they're gone, they're gone. You guys asked for it, so we're doing them quick before the summer is over. $22 shipped worldwide. Again, if you get one, great, appreciate it. If not, no big deal. Let's get on to that video. Link in the description below. No discount codes. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. It's Brandon again with Campbell Fitness, and what you're watching today is my upper body workout day from the other day. Now that I got that out of the way, which is surprising because there's a lot of footage to talk over, but what you're watching is, to start, 6 sets of 2 done for speed with 300 pounds. And because we're working in lower reps, heavier weight, I decided to throw my weight belt on for this just because I typically wear it when I max out, and I thought it would be a good idea. But in all honesty, it actually kind of got in the way. It was kind of annoying where it was with the placement. However, with this, in some instances, like right here, this angle, I am actually arching a little bit, which is surprising because I typically can't arch at all. But there is a slight arch in my back. I know times they are a change, and my butt still remains on the pad the whole time, which is also another big benefit. But what you're going to see here is clips from 3 different days of workout. So you're going to see an upper body day, you're going to see a lower body day, and you're going to see another upper day, but that's more of an accessory work day. But 6 sets, you're going to see all of them right here. We then moved on to slingshot work. So after those 6 sets of 2, I believe we then did 4 sets of 2 with slingshot, and Mike said just bump the weight up, so I went from 300 to 335. And with these sets, one of the things that you'll actually probably notice is that I'm wearing my slingshot really low. Now typically this is where I like to wear it, however at this point in the day it wasn't really working out too well for me, so I decided that I should probably go ahead and move it up some on my elbows, and that's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, I didn't make that break decision until the very last set. So as you'll see right here, it's higher up, and I felt like this helped me more because what it's doing is squeezing my elbows a little bit better, so I'm getting more rebound off of it. But at this point too, it was just tough because I'm not used to working this heavy. Again, being fresh and new back in the gym. Then moved on to some seated dumbbell shoulder presses. So yes, I do shoulders. In fact, you'll see another shoulder exercise later on in this video. I believe we did 4 sets of 10 here. Again, not going overly heavy just because it's a lot of assistance work, but I still wanted to get a good old pump. From there, we moved on to face pulls. However, this gym doesn't have really a lot of cable machines, so I had to improvise. So I'm wrapping 1 resistance band around the rack and then a secondary one. And I do this because it gives you a little bit more play. Just doing it with 1 resistance band straight on the rack itself, it makes it very difficult. And I'm all about that ease because I needed to do 4 sets of 20 on these. So previous to this, I was also doing just some rear delt pec deck reverse flies. It's kind of a mouthful, that's what she said, but this is much better. And again, the weight's not anything overly heavy because they're using resistance bands, but you can change the resistance bands you use to make this heavier. Or like I said, if you don't have access to some rear delt movements, it's an easy way to do it in your own gym. So for this accessory work, I'm only going to show you the first set. We then moved on to a superset, and Mike has a couple of these within the workout. This one called for skull crushers, 4 sets of 10 followed by supersetting 4 sets of dumbbell curls. So for this, I haven't done skull crushers in a very, very long time, so I didn't want to go overly heavy, not to mention, again, having to do 4 sets and supersets. I wasn't sure how this was going to go. So for my first set here, we just used roughly, this is 70 or 75 pounds. I can never tell how much those curl bars weigh. Usually I'd say 20 pounds, sometimes 25, depending. I'm sure you guys will have varying answers. We then moved right onto dumbbell curls. Again, not going overly heavy here. I believe these are 30 pounders. Might be 35, but I think they're 30 pounders. But still, that's an improvement from last week. As you guys know, last week we used a whopping 20 pounds. And of course, there will be other curls in this clip as well. So not only is there more shoulders than you guys have ever seen in a while, but more curl exercises as well when I went up in weight. So I know you guys are very, very impressed. But this was a good workout overall. It was fun. I don't usually do a lot of these exercises, so it's good to work them back in. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Brandon again in the car. I don't think I had any other clips to show you before what I initially think is going to be some bench press clips to start the video. And it's tough on these vlogs, and a lot of you guys have mentioned, you don't say stay big anymore always. That's only because as I do these vlog type videos, I just take a bunch of random clips when I can, and I'm never really sure when I'm going to end certain videos. I have certain time frames in mind that I don't want to make videos either too short or too long, which being too long has never been a problem of mine.
if you know what I'm saying. But it's really tough to do, so sometimes I don't. That's why I tried to cover it in the intro. So as far as that goes, we're outside the gym. It's going to be a lower day for me, so some squats, some accessory work. I'm also meeting up with John from the Strength Guys, and I think his girlfriend's coming too, and I think he's actually Canadian, so my brother from up north coming down. His girlfriend lives in Rhode Island, so that's quite a long distance relationship. I feel for your brother. But you guys are probably familiar with the Strength Guys. They do a lot of online coaching with a lot of other people. So for example, Matty Fusaro works with them, Travis S., who thinks he's the Sandwich King, but in reality, he's not. But they work with them as well as many other people too. So he's gonna come and train with me because he's in town, so it should be fun. I think he's doing squats and deadlifts, so I'm gonna try to get him on film some, even if he wants to or not. So we'll check in with you guys in a little bit.
Okay, so I did manage to get John on tape. Here he is with one of his sets on squats. This is probably just about 410 pounds, and he killed it. He's rocking the bright yellow Romaleos, and I've really been kind of sitting on, do I want to go with these shoes for a while? You guys know I have the Addy Powers, which you can kind of see in this clip, and you'll see in some other clips as well. But I've really been wanting to pick up a pair of Romaleos also, just to kind of compare and contrast, see how they are. Not to mention, as you guys know, I hate the color of this shoe. It just so happens that I have it, and I know that shouldn't really play a big difference, but John was saying that he really likes the Romaleos, and he's had a ton of Olympic weightlifting shoes, from the Addy Star Powers to the Romaleos to the Dewins to the Wayrus to everything. And he said he really likes the Romaleos, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and pick up a pair of these also. Stay tuned for more information on that. Here you see him doing some more squat work, and I'll kind of talk about what I do as I kind of interject in between his sets as well. So he was doing some paused work as well as just some normal squats repped out. Very impressive lifter, very strong guy, and I think that's kind of goes without saying, since he is one of the Strength Guys. You would only figure he would be strong, but he was very strong, very nice guy. Now for me, my goal of the day was to work up to supposedly a heavy 6 for beltless squats. Now I say supposedly a heavy 6 because you saw one of my first working sets with 315 for 6. This set here for 405, I think I only ended up doing 5 reps, only because I honestly just lost count. I wasn't thinking about how many I was doing. I was just focusing on other aspects of the lift, and I neglected to do 6. You can see me kind of hesitate here and there because I'm trying to think in my mind, was that 4? Was that 5? Where the hell am I? What am I doing? But regardless, I felt pretty good about these squats being 405 and beltless and being able to get pretty good depth, at least in my opinion. I am not good at, however, apparently, putting things into focus. I almost always shoot with manual focus engaged. I forgot to turn on the autofocus here as I just tried to quickly get, again, some of John's squats in here as well. I then moved up to my last heavy set for beltless, so this is going to be 425, and again with this one, I think I ended up getting 5. You also quickly saw John's girlfriend in the mirror, for anyone that is quick-eyed here. She did a hell of a job too. She was doing squats and deadlifts, and she brought her chucks, and she was using chalk, so she is a badass, so props to her for coming and hanging out. I didn't get her on film only because I ain't about that life. I'm not gonna film her and put her on the channel, only because I don't think that's very respectful. She didn't really seem like she wanted to be on film so much, and plus I don't want to be a creeper any more than I am, and I just like filming guys. You guys know me, I mean, come on. But you will see her every now and then in the background. So that was my last working set, 425, 5 reps, felt pretty good. Here you see John again with his set. This is going to be right around 450. You see the kid Myron in the back, pause at the bottom, and he makes it look easy. So he's competed before geared lifting. He is getting ready to do some raw meets, and once he does, you guys better watch out because he is going to kill it. Like I said, very, very strong guy, competes in the 220-pound weight class around that, but props to him again for coming through. I then moved on to belted squats. So again, my goal was to work up to a heavy 6, which ended up being a heavy 5 beltless, then to do a heavy 4 with my belt. So this was 455. And I thought that this went pretty well. Things were moving pretty smooth, except the last rep was a bit of a grinder, but that's okay. Felt good to get back under the bar and just squat, and I thought these went pretty well. And as I get fatigued, you can kind of see I lean over a little bit more, but I was still able to keep my chest mostly up and power through. So alternating back to John, he then was doing some paused deadlift sumo, so pausing at the knee. Again, props to him because this hurt me just watching it, but he did a hell of a job. I then moved on to, after that, having to do some pause set of squats beltless, so as to work up to a heavy set of 3 beltless, and for me that's going to be 405. But again, these felt really good, and I feel like my depth was okay here. It's a tough angle to tell only because I have such big quads and such big legs in general that, you know, it's obviously hard to see the angles here that my hip crease is getting below, but take my word for it. And trying to be distracted by my huge legs and calves, I know it's very easy to do. Then got some more of John in on this too. He's using these silver clips that I used to use a lot, but you guys know I picked up some of the blue clips instead, and you're about to see why on this next rep. I believe it's the right hand clip. There it goes. Those things do not stay on very well, even though they are screwed on. Now, surprisingly, the weights stayed on still until that very last point, but he was like, those things do not work well. So what do? I go in my bag. You can see me in the mirror. And I say, hey, if you're going to do more, you should use these. And then being the dick I am, instead of going over and handing them to him, I throw them and then I kick them at him. I'm like, here, try these instead. I'm a very gracious host if you can't tell. But he slapped these on. I don't actually think he tightened the left one because as you can see here after this first rep that it's actually unclasped. You can see it right there. And this whole time he's doing this, I'm like, oh God, this is going to be bad. He's going to snap the shit up. Things are going to fall off. So the clip falls off on that side. You see the other one stays on very well, but the weight still managed to stay on. So at least he made it through. We then move on to my next day of lifting. So I have more lifting clips. I'm sorry, just trying to get these out here. This is an upper accessory day. Close grip bench press here, 4 sets of 10. So I go narrow, tucking my elbows a lot more. Some might say this actually looks like a normal bench press, but for me, this is much more narrow. You hear Howard barking in the background, trying to get all my gains. Jealous of these gains, Howard. You will get yours, don't you worry. But 4 sets of 10 of that. We then moved on to 4 sets of 15 to 20 for these incline dumbbell rows, which you can see here. I am literally making out with this pad. So I was sure to disinfect it beforehand. I sprayed the shit out of this thing just because I know how many people use these benches and they have that big sweaty patch where their head is usually afterwards, and I am not about that life either. So I disinfected the hell out of this and did my rows, and then gazing, you get to see those white thighs. Mrs. Campbell Fitness, you can actually see her, the very right hand corner. If you look right now in the mirror, she's over there. She was doing squats, she was doing some calf raises, which I don't know where she learned that movement from because it obviously wasn't from me. But as I said earlier, I also did some shoulders. So we did, I think, 3 sets of 10 of 135 just on the shoulder press. I haven't done these in a while, but I really would like to get back into them because I think that they would transfer very well over to my bench press. So this is actually a fairly weak lift for me. I still have very bad shoulder mobility, which you can see in these clips. But after that, we moved on to a triceps and biceps superset again. So another one of these. And what you can see here is I'm actually using the Brute belt. So I use this thing all the time. You guys have seen it on my channel some. You've seen it on Christian Guzman's channel. I'm going to go ahead and link it in the description box below. It is a great accessory if you guys are in the market for any kind of dip belt or, you know, add weights onto chin-ups and pull-ups. This is a great belt. It's very, very comfortable. Plus it looks pretty badass because it's camouflage and it does not rub your nuts the wrong way. So I'm going to show you right here as I kind of zoom in on my crotch. You're welcome. You can see this setup here. I use carabiners. It uses some heavy duty materials and you can hang these weights. And typically these would be all up in my Johnson. Because the actual things are set up a little bit wider, you have that nice little triangle of victory. And like I said, I would highly recommend this belt if you guys are looking for it. And then of course I kept it on while I did my superset in for my curls for the girls. And my upper body looks pretty big here, and my lower body is pale and very small, and I'm wearing shorter shorts, but that's all right. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So we did 4 sets of all of this stuff, again, supersets, so 10 reps each. Things were good. This was the workout, 3 days in a row. Thanks for sticking through and listening to this boring-ass commentary. We'll catch you with some more entertaining clips in the next video. Big ups. I'm out.